hundreds of thousands of dollars. You said something a second ago around mental capacity to be more human, and I imagine, like in my mind, if I'm able to do more as a human, that is the essence of sharpening the spear.
Welcome to Sharpen the Spear podcast, where we help manufacturing executives command the front and win the floor. I'm Richard Walsh, creator of the Sharpened Impact methodology, and I spent decades helping leaders transform frontline teams, unlock hidden profit, and capture capacity they didn't even know they had. If you want to see where your leadership gaps are costing you and how to fix them, head over to grittolead.com and run the free Sharpened Impact Simulator today. Let's sharpen your edge and get started. And we are back on STS Sharpen the Spear podcast with another incredible guest. Drew Thompson's in the house. And Drew, no one knows Drew like Drew. So Drew, give us the backstory, bring us up to speed so we can get into our conversation.
Sir, thank you for having me. So my backstory, man, my story is anything but linear. Let me tell you that right there. I started out as a child actor. I was on daytime television for a number of years when I was a kid, right? There are a lot of middle-aged moms nowadays that come up and they still say, "Hey, weren't you that little kid on All My Children?" I'm kidding, actually. No middle-aged mom has come up and done that. But that's where I started my career. I fell in love with this idea of storytelling. What's interesting is that it's this juxtaposition that has made my life's work actually meaningful. On the left-hand side, I was on TV, right? Storytelling, escaping into a character, realizing that my life could exist on a soundstage in a different way than it did in real life, because real life, my mother was going through 63 surgeries before she passed away. She was in the Navy. She was a JAG. She was the DA in Philly. She was just this powerhouse, man. But she was plagued, with chronic illness. And so I would spend my days going into the city, into Philadelphia, because I'm from Jersey, and I would spend my days going in there, sitting on her hospital bed, just living that life, what that meant. She was a single mom. And then other days I would spend in New York City on the Upper West Side at the studio recording. So there's this juxtaposition. And what I learned is that you can tell a story, and stories connect to the human soul on such a deep level. But on the other hand, if you can tell that story and make somebody laugh and make them feel an emotion, you can profoundly impact their life. So I turned that into my entire career. I worked in advertising for a number of years after undergrad and grad school. Loved it. Loved watching what people did, watching how people bought Coke versus Pepsi. From there, built my own agency, sold it. Now I work in a little bit different of a space. It's more human to human. It's called an intelligence transition agency. I built Signal and Scale for this principle of change is coming. Change is massively inevitable. How do we work more human with AI helping us be more human, right? That's the catch. AI isn't going to take your job. Well, let's just be real. If you work in accounts receivable, accounts payable, if you're a billing clerk, if you're an accountant, if you're a lawyer, AI is coming for your job. But that's not to scare you. That's to say, when you think AI first and think AI in front, all of a sudden now it's not taking your job. So that's my story, man.
I love it. I love it. You know, it's and just to that last point, I gave a presentation a couple of days ago on AI in business, and they said AI is not taking your job, but someone using AI will.
100%.
And that's how I started the whole thing. So I'm going to show you how to use this, okay, to benefit your business. Stop being afraid of it. Stop waiting to get involved, because I've never been an early adopter per se, but this has changed the whole game, right? So I've become that. So I totally get where you're going with this, and I love it. I love that you're also creating a business of this. So let's get into kind of what you're doing with business, with people, because everyone's got that fear they're going to be replaced, right?
Yep.
You hear all the doomsday stuff and everything else, and kind of on the surface, you can go, it sounds right. I can make Terminator sound right. Okay. But let's be real. Okay. We have to do what I always do too, Drew. I don't know if you do. I do some reverse reflection.
Uh-huh.
Let's go back 20, 30. I've been around long enough. I've been in business 35 years. I've seen all the things that are going to take everybody's jobs. Okay. And everybody's still working. So you gotta start right there. Nothing's going to come and wipe out 2/3 of the population in that sense. Okay. In the job sense. So let's talk about that a little bit. Like what you actually do kind of from the beginning as you walk people through this.
Yeah, so I work in multiple buckets. We work on the enterprise side. For instance, we work with some couple big name private equity firms, and we install ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude across their entire organization. Because the problem that most firms have is that they say, "Hey, 300 employees, here's AI," and then at the end of the second quarter, they go, "Well, we're paying 60K for this. What did it do for us?"
Right.
Because they still measure in what I call pre-implementation KPIs. The way we measure things is not the same once you have put AI in place. And once you have trained and upskilled and enabled your employees to think AI first. I'll give you an example. If I'm sitting here and I'm a mid-level manager at, let's say, an insurance firm, or let's say a risk mitigation practice, and I'm thinking, this new memo came across my desk. I mean, I know how to answer it, but I think there could be a better way. How am I going to do that? Let me think about it. Let me go call Richard real quick. Hey, Richard, can you talk? All right, cool. Now Richard's in the meeting. Let me get Mike. Mike, come here. I've got a great idea on how we can get the new account. Instead, if you were to just open up a tool and dictate, "Hey, I need your help with this. I need you to be my collaborator. Here's what I'm thinking. We have an opportunity to work with Rocket Mortgage as their new risk mitigation provider, but we don't know the TAM or the service addressable market that they're looking for and the competitors. Can you help me think about this the same way a Johns Hopkins neurosurgeon would think about this, or a behavioral scientist would think about this? Help me come up with a much better approach to solving this problem." Now, again, I'm being facetious for a reason. I could reach out far into the universe to pick out different models for you to try and behave like. But the answer you're going to get in 30 seconds is going to be light years better than you could ever imagine. If you're using something like Claude, which is the best model on the market right now, if you're using Claude, it'll say, "Hey, let me build you some models here financially in Excel so we can just model out what revenue projections could look like should you land this client." That's the one lane. But now imagine this other lane. There's a company called WYSA, WYSA, and in their research, they found over 500 million conversations per day around mental health. Isn't that interesting? What does it say about us as a society, dude?
Yes.
That that we go to a tool, and there's nothing wrong with it, in my opinion, because mental health is something that needs to be talked about. But we just open the door and let you walk through it. You can have a better conversation with an AI LLM to unload all the mental crap right there and then walk in fully present, fully where your feet are, so you can be more human.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, Joe. This is what I learned a year and a half ago or so, just along the same realm. It became this LLM model. It became my ultimate business partner
Yeah.
because it's the only person who could put up with me. Okay. It's the only who could stay in front of me for 15 straight hours and give me all the answers I wanted,
Yes,
you
sir.
know. And I'm the only one dumb enough to also stay there for 15 hours asking questions. Okay. So we're a match made in heaven. All right. So, but what I've been able to do with it is beyond anything I ever thought possible. I've done what no one's done in it, right? They've created things that no one's ever created in it, because again, we have that advantage of it's relatively new. And a lot of people are pushing the boundaries. People are really into it. I mean, you can have it write you an email and all that stuff. I talk about all that. There's a lot of simple things, just like you mentioned with your example, the scenario. I want to send an email as a response, and it'll write an email for you. I always tell people this, and you'll go, "Oh, that's really good. I couldn't write it that good."
Oh,
But I
100.
guarantee it's not good. It's good to you, but you got to ask it to do a little more, like roast that sucker, okay, and watch what it really can come up with. Okay, give it a little bit of direction, then you'll have a real effective email.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
that is
So
just an ordinary thing. You've got to understand how to use the tool properly.
So it's like I tell all the time. So in the enterprise buckets we work, that's one. Then we work with individual coaching, and group coaching around how to use this for executives that are afraid and saying, "Oh my gosh, it's taking over white collar work. What am I going to do?" Well, here's a transition. Let's talk about how to use this. But when it comes to things like email or writing, it's not cheating. It's not
Right.
cheating. For anyone listening, using this to create content. Now, I'm going to caveat this in a second. Using this to create written content, this is not cheating. Because here's what it is, it allows you to connect dots in ways you could never connect dots. But you, as the human, your responsibility is to make sure it doesn't put out shit. You
Right.
make sure that it puts out good quality content that reflects your opinion, your values. This does not mean AI slop. Like when I see something like Richard as an email and it starts with, "I'm thrilled to announce," I'm like, okay, ChatGPT wrote this,
Right.
right? Or it's
Yeah.
like smiley face, firecracker emoji. And then it says, "So happy this happened." Dude, you didn't write that.
Right. Yeah. I can smell it
Oh, a
before
mile away, man.
I can smell it before they hit send.
Yes.
Okay. Like I
Yeah.
know what's going. And again, I just go, oh, matter of fact, even if I have it create responses for me, I have to edit them.
Oh, yeah.
Little things like a long dash and a long, like, I don't have that capability on my keyboard.
Well, I
Okay.
don't
But
do
it
you do
does.
you do that though? Do you do long dashes? I don't.
No, I don't. If I use a short dash, but so I'm like, I can't, but I love what it has, but I got to remove that and add a comma and do this and do that. And like, okay, good. Or maybe I change a word or two. That's all it is. But the brilliance of it is it's the beginning, right?
Yes.
It's the blank paper writer's block that goes away because there's something on there to work with, But and they are really good. Like I said, once it gets to know you really well, like me, I've been in it for too many thousands of hours. Okay, we're just in a groove. Like I said, it's a business partner for me. It's used for just this, and so it is. But you really have. I tell you, you have to be awake, right? You got to be awake while you're using this tool.
Oh yeah.
It's like working a skill saw and you close your eyes and take a nap. Okay, well you're going to lose some digits. Okay, you gotta be paying attention to what you're doing, on
But
this.
you can do
Otherwise, you're going
so
to look
much
like a
more.
goof.
You can do so much more. Like I have 5 screens here, and I have LLMs running on each one of the screens. I think of them as Bain, McKinsey, BCG, Deloitte, and I can just start asking each one of them to wrestle with the other one to give me a better output. And to think about this, dude, this will be you and I will talk in 2 years. And we'll be like, "Oh, you remember how dumb that AI was?
Yep,
Oh,
yep,
it
yep.
wrote emails. Now all we do is we think with our minds. Whoa." Like, you know what I mean? Like it's the Jetsons, but in the future, this will be the dumbest AI ever.
Yeah, it's so, and that's what I mean. Like I watch it because I'm in it so much. I
Yeah.
watch it change during the day.
It's
I
crazy.
see it's like you used to get this tool, a software, or whatever, and you use it. It's never going to change. It's going to use it until they give you the new update that you have to buy. And but this thing, I'm watching it like whatever. A year plus ago is 4.8. Now it's 5.2. You know what I mean? But like literally little things I notice are changing, which I love. It's learning, it's adapting. They're working on this thing. It's constant improvement. So I love that from a sense of as a tool, I have this back end innovator constantly improving my tool.
Hmm.
Again, to go to a skill saw, it just has a blade and it turns when I pull the trigger. Okay. That's all it ever does. That's all it's ever going to do. Okay. That thing's never going to change. It's like cut the cord and then I got to get a new cord. Okay. But that's the only thing, right? So I have a great appreciation for this as a learning tool, as I'll use the word intellect. Okay. Whether that's true or not, this thing is creating intelligence, right? Do you kind of see it
Yes.
that way? Or you see like, I was the one guy, it's like he compared it to the former steam engine. Took steam
Yeah.
and you converted it to power. This takes power, energy, right? Turns it into intelligence. It's that kind of conversion. It's pretty cool.
That's a good way to look at it too. And that's what's happening is that, and these machines start to think for themselves. You know, Claude asks me the other day, "Can I just do this work for you? And then you just go be present in what you're doing?" Huh, sure. Twist my arm.
Right. Yeah, I think when it comes down to like that, like it's hard to explain to someone who hasn't really like done a lot of work inside of it.
Yeah.
Like I've built an entire company inside it. I mean, an ecosystem,
Hmm.
including code. I have like 12,000 lines of code I built inside one of these things,
And you're not a
right?
coder, are you?
I'm not a coder. I couldn't
Yeah, me
code.
neither.
I can't open the locker on the lock in my locker. Okay.
Right.
I mean, so again, this thing is unbelievable thing I built. And it's that kind of, again, me, I can take my experience in business all these 30 plus years and go, this was, you told me this 25 years ago. I just, no way. Okay. Like I mean, to have a tool like this,
At your
what you can do,
disposal
yeah, single handedly.
for $100. I mean, I pay a lot more than that for all of these, but it's so cheap.
Yeah.
I heard somebody the other day and they were like, oh, the AI doesn't do anything. That's nothing. And I'm like, I bet you were the same person who had a StarTAC Motorola Razor and who said, yeah, smartphones, they don't do anything. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's the same comparison because the people who use free ChatGPT, free Claude, free Gemini, you are getting the equivalent of a flip phone
Yep.
when we have iPhones.
Yep.
And then you're telling me that the iPhone doesn't work.
Yeah. You're Blackberry.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
Blackberry.
Oh, which you know what?
you're
Something to
in
be
you're
said,
in the
man,
annals of
about
history.
the physical buttons on my old BlackBerry. Like,
Yeah, right.
dude, I
Slide
could
up your
text a
little thing.
mile a minute. You remember that? Like, you could
Yeah.
sit there. I would be like, I'm faster than anyone else.
Yeah. People doing it behind their back and everything else. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
I waited till you could talk to it. Okay. I'm like, I'm not doing I'm not typing anything with my thumbs. Okay. I'm gonna wait till I can speak to it. Then that'll be cool. And now you can, right? The whole thing. So yeah, it's really I, let's elaborate a little bit more on the
Yeah.
tool aspect because you really touched on the thing where the naysayers, I don't care, right? I get it. I could have been one of the things in the past, but when they look at, like you said, and I think a good point you made, Drew, is the free version. Okay,
Hmm?
all free versions of everything suck. Okay,
Yeah. The free versions to
Unintentionally.
get you to buy the real
Yeah,
version.
they're good. They're a trial run. You think
Yeah.
they're going to give you the good stuff for nothing, right? So let's be real, okay? But it can do things in the free version that you couldn't do before. So
Yeah.
if you work it, then you graduate and you go to the $20 version. And you start to do that and see what it can do for you. And then I had a guest on, and she's accounting and she tax and accounting and all this stuff, but she's got, like you, multiple models going for different aspects, and it runs them through. It's like she blew me away. I think she was on two times. The second time, I'm like, man, you're doing like unbelievable. And here's the point: not that it's doing what it did with customer relations and what she can produce to give to her customers far exceeds anything anyone could ever do. Like it really connected. It gave people real things they could understand.
Hmm.
Okay, because you get account speak and you can get, there's a language that the insiders can use that a customer has no idea what you're talking about, right? Whether you're coding or doing whatever, this will break it down and make that assimilable by the average person. Now, imagine being able to do that for your clients when they actually, as a business owner, know what these numbers mean. Because it explains and puts this stuff together. So people really leverage this thing in amazing ways, not replacing people, but increasing their customer experience. It's amazing.
Increasing their humanity, man. Like, here's an example. I was at a conference 2 weeks ago, and I was out on the floor, and you're looking at all these people who have CRMs. You know what a CRM is,
Yep.
right? And they all said that they did 100 things. And in my opinion, it did 100 things, but it didn't do one of them great. So I thought to myself as I'm leaving, I'm like, I wonder, could I create a CRM that is just literally an image or one color with an image, and it just says, call Richard. You and Richard talked about the military last time you spoke. And then when I hit call, it activates the call. And then it says, did Richard answer? Here's the voicemail to leave. Here's the text. Next one, swipe. So I get in the Uber from Midtown West over to 55th and Park for dinner. And I built the entire thing in 18 minutes. And it became a fully functioning. If you want to see it, like go to Human Powered. It's just humanpowrd.com. That's my Substack. You'll see it. I wrote about it. I made a fully functional CRM in 18 minutes. Let that be a microcosm for what you can do with any ideas you have right now. I just think that is so, what a time to be alive.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you what I did. Now it took me 4,000 hours. I didn't do it in 18 minutes. Okay.
But you could do it probably in like 18 minutes now. You could
I don't
probably do it
know.
so
I don't know
quick.
because it's just building this code. I mean, if maybe someone knows what they're doing, but if you don't, if you have to
Yeah,
go in
I don't know what I'm
blind,
doing.
but I'm just saying I created a diagnostic that never existed. I can do something now that no one's ever been able to do. I have filled a hole in a massive industry that no one's been able to fill ever and track this data. It's incredible. And I'm like, and that was like by accident, because it didn't start with that. It just
Yeah.
led to the next thing. Go, well, I need this. Let's build this. I thought that'd be fun. I thought I'd spend 18 minutes. Okay.
And you made it into a life's work, if you will, right?
Exactly. And it's like,
So cool,
dang.
dude.
And you know what though? Worth every minute. Worth every minute. Because now I can take that and I won't do another one. Okay. Because it almost broke me. So we'll do it again. Next is I'm paying someone. Okay, like they're going to do it, but I proved this model and it works and it's out there and it's really cool. So I just, to your point though, what you can do on the fly,
It's just
like you,
next level.
yeah, it's just incomprehensible
Have
almost.
Have you read the Citrini piece about the 2028 global crisis?
No,
All right. So for you and for all your listeners, I don't know when this is going to be published, but it is something you need to stop and go read right now. It is a fantastic, it's a doomsday article a little bit.
I like those.
But here's what it says. It says, Richard, that agentic AI capabilities have encroached into white collar work, lawyers, accountants, mid to senior level executives.
Yep.
So then we have the big Fortune 500 companies that have said, oh, what's going to happen to our really smart human laborers? Well, margin encroachment, they say we have to put Richard out of a job and we can have AI do it. And then your competitor sees that and says, oh, well, to compete on price now, we have to do the same thing. So you see this massive layoff of white collar workers. And what does that do? Well, a white collar worker making 2 to 300K, maybe 4 to 5, you've got enough savings in the bank if you're smart to live for 6 to 12 months, 6 to 8 months with the same lifestyle. But as that time runs out, they run out of cash and now they're going and being delinquent on their mortgages. So that we have these prime mortgages that are now delinquent, and the mortgage companies and the banks say, "Wait, hold on. This was a prime mortgage. There was no risk." So now prime is almost a subprime asset risk.
Mm,
And it talks about all of these dominoes just falling over. And then all of a sudden, consumer spending takes a big hit because no one has the money anymore. So the CPG companies, their stock tanks. And the companies now that have increased their margin using agentic AI, they take that money, put it back into more AI research so it works faster. Like, I don't know about you, but that's a little scary to me. It's a doomsday scenario. And
right.
here's the part it doesn't talk about is that humans will always prevail. It underestimates the ability and the malleability of a human to have one task, learn another, and then put their same skill set into that new task.
Yep.
But it's scary to think because agentic AI is that close to
Right.
taking the
So
job of a lawyer.
yeah. So here's the thing. So what I try to encourage people with too, just along these same lines. So you gave kind of the doomsday thing. I said, here's how you have to think about it. And this is kind of my point of view on this. AI and all its levels from here to tomorrow, 6 months from now, 2 years from now, is going to in the beginning it replaces basic functions. Okay, meaning that stuff that no one really wants to do anyways. So my approach is, let me take that burden off people so they can do bigger things. Like you
Yes,
said, they'll win. The mind, you have to unleash their ability to adapt and grow and be challenged with new things. Okay. Customer service is great, talking to people, but when you have a bad day or two, okay, you can lose your job. Okay.
100%.
Because saying the wrong thing. So if you didn't have to do that, now you can work on other customer service things, kind of back office, if you will.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
How do we improve this? How do we do that using human to human? Because it's still speaking to humans,
Yep.
right? Now you're free to increase your mental bandwidth to really pour into this tool to make it better and better and better, right? So I think that it opens up the human capital to do way bigger things, way more challenging, and it's just a transfer. Okay. So the money doesn't go away, it transfers.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So where they save it on there and it's actually going to benefit their business at a higher level. I showed Drew, you'll like this. I had a client in a service business, right? So he does like trees and everything. So we went talking about AI and answering the phone because no one answers the phone off hours. Okay,
Yep.
real simple. Like, okay, you answer it 8 hours a day. What about the other, 16? So we calculated average job is $3,000. We
Okay.
figured out, okay, all the calls coming in, they're never more interested than when they call. And they're calling at
Sure.
midnight because a tree fell in their house.
Sure.
Okay. The first person that picks up wins.
Speed
Okay.
delete. Yeah.
Right. So we estimated on the conservative end, $80,000 a month was being left on the table because no one was answering the phones during that time. I mean, a voicemail was, but voicemail is nothing. You might as well go into nothing. Okay. Because
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
looking for someone else.
Yeah.
Okay. So 80,000, that we're talking a 7-figure deal for the year because you had AI who now understands the business, can
Yes.
literally answer their questions, schedule the appointment, can
So
do
good.
all of that. And then it can notify you. It can transfer it. It is emergency. It can transfer to you. It can do everything 10x a human, right? Like, do you realize how much money you're leaving on the table by not utilizing this kind of tool? That's a lot of money for a small operation.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars. You said something a second ago around mental capacity to be more human, and I imagine, like in my mind, if I'm able to do more as a human, that is the essence of sharpening the spear,
Right.
right? So, have you heard of this 996 culture?
No.
Dude, I was on a podcast yesterday and we started talking about it. So 996 means 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. And it was popularized in like Asia and China. And then it became outlawed as illegal because people were burning out and getting unhealthy. But now it's being picked up in Silicon Valley of saying, hey, it's the 996 culture. You've got to want this. You've got to work hard. And this conversation I had yesterday, Richard, was all about the definition, in my opinion. Hustling is the laziest thing you can do.
Right.
Hustling is just movement
Yep.
without going anywhere. You're
Yeah.
just
It's rocking
running on
horse.
a, what's that?
It's a rocking horse.
It is.
It's in
You're on,
motion, but it doesn't
right. You're
go
not
anywhere.
going anywhere.
Doesn't
Yeah,
make any
it's a
progress.
hamster wheel. You think you can run faster to get off. If you look at hustling and look at it from that mental health perspective, here's the hardest version of hustling that exists. That is, can you sit with whatever the cognitive distortion, whatever the junk that's going on in your head? Can you sit with a large language model to figure that out so you have more horsepower, you have more ability to be present, ability to produce better results? That's hustling because that's hard.
Right. Right. Because because you're facing some inner realities.
You're facing your inner demons, things that you've
That's
never
right.
thought about, but now
That's
you
right.
have a tool that is non-judgmental, has no biases, is always there to listen. Like, I use this thing if my wife and I get in an argument about putting the dishes in the wrong place in the dishwasher, and it always says, I shit you not, it says back to me, you're wrong. Just fix the dishwasher.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it knows. It knows you're the male. It's telling your wife, you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right.
Exactly.
So we all know that. I'm married 26 years, my man. I know. I don't need a language model. but but to your point, it's nursing homes are employing this
Oh
as
yeah.
companions.
So smart.
It's saving lives in these seniors because it listens, it gets to know them, it has conversations, it gets feedback because we have like a senior a retirement home ministry. We kind of do we pop in and we spend an hour or two with these people because no one does.
Mm.
No one's talking to them. I mean, put you in a room every day all by yourself, get shuffled off of some meals and back and forth. Like, yeah, that's gonna be bad, right? So now they're using these language models. Same thing, having these conversations, bringing this stuff up. It can learn about you. You can upload stuff. Everything else is really fascinating. So, is that the end all? No, but like it's being used for good.
Agreed.
Okay, and then people will give your exception. This went this, and this told this guy to do that. And what, like we get it. Okay, like nothing's perfect, but the whole point is, I think the automation pendulum has swung like as far as it can. Like it's so far that because it's left humanity out, like you're talking about. I think it's got to come back for this human connection. Relationship is what it's about. That's where the real connection is. So I think people have to, they're starting to realize that, whether it's in sales, in just in communication, stuff like that. They can't just go LLMs. Okay. Hey, we're just
Hmm.
like text, like we're just going to text back and forth. How many times does that get misinterpreted?
Right.
Okay.
But
Like
have you
all
seen
the
those
time,
videos?
right?
Have you seen that video? I hope whoever's, if you have a video editor and he edits this into small form, have you seen that misinterpretation with Key and Peele?
No.
Yo, I should text you. You got to see it. It's like they're sitting there hanging out, and the guy's like, "Hey man, you want to hang out? What are you doing?" And the other guy responds, "Nothing, man. I'm just chilling. Sure, would love to." And then he reads the text. The other guy reads it and goes, "Nothing. I would love to." Well, he doesn't sound excited, and it's like a microcosm
Right.
of the misinterpretation of texts.
Right. Yeah. It's wild. Like, I
Dude,
mean,
it's
I
funny.
just, yeah, I've got to, you know, you start to learn like how to communicate again, like what works, what
100%.
doesn't, what I can use this tool to communicate for. Okay. Are you coming? Yes or no? Okay. We keep it down to simple sentences, right? And one word answers. But then you understand there's a phone call and there's that, there's email, then there's chat, there's all these different things. But you have to learn how to communicate in certain systems,
Yes.
right? Isn't it kind of like you really, because it can go really bad. And now we're talking business, and you're letting something communicate without really fine tuning it. What is it really saying? What are you enabling it to respond with? Right. And we can train it, we can teach it. That's the beauty of it. I love it. We can teach it everything about my business. Like I even go as far as this, Drew. I teach it, I upload sales recordings and everything else. So it knows
Hmm.
all the objections, knows all the responses, right? So it can talk to someone, I'm air quoting talk, right? And they can answer their questions. They can overcome their objections on the phone for you. That's warming a lead, baby. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
that
like
is super cool.
getting someone primed, like then set the appointment, everything else, you answer all their questions. Again, they're never more interested than at the moment they call you. You've answered it, you're answering all their questions, you're getting everything down. Then, man, you were showing up to pick up a check. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, the sales portion is pretty much over. You're coming to confirm you're a human being. You're going to be there, give a final walkthrough, and there you go in those situations. So the applications, which I think is what you're doing, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but it's really understanding how to apply these tools.
Hmm.
Is that what you're really kind of showing people? I know you're doing kind of a lot, but like in the big umbrella, is that basically what you're doing, or what does that look like for you?
So it's starts out what I do. It starts out with just problem seeking, not problem solving. Like I want to figure out what's that bottleneck? What's the problem? Right?
Right.
What's the one thing that if you could automate, it would free up not only 10 to 12 human hours, but now you've just uncovered a whole bunch of margin you didn't know you had. Now, whether this is on an enterprise level or an individual level, right, with solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, sales-based, commission-based professionals, what is the bottleneck? Usually it's you have one brain and you're thinking about a decision from one brain, one lens, one set of circumstances. But once we figure out what that problem is, we do an exercise right there in our first discovery call. Let's put that into one of these large language models. I'm going to show you how I do it. There's nothing proprietary about what I do, especially in that sense. Then we go through, we watch how it solves a problem. And then after that, it's, hey, how do we do this with every part of my business?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's learning thinking AI first. It's learning applying Claude skills, applying co-working Claude, applying Claude code, realizing that there are 1,000 AI tools out there that you could spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on. But at the basic, right? Think about it like this. I just thought about this. My undergrad degree, one of them was in jazz percussion, drums. Okay. I started from a very young age. And when I first started drum lessons, my drum instructor, Barry Plavinsky, Barry, if you're listening to this, you are an amazing man. Barry said, "Here's the drum set." I'm like 6. I'm like, "That's so cool." He goes, "You get a snare drum, one drum." The idea is for 4 years, I learned how to play one drum. I learned the mechanics and what each one of my fingers did. I learned what each muscle in my wrist did so that I could master that fundamental. So that when I played the drum set, it was just playing one drum, but now there were 6 of them. So I knew what to do. And it's the same thing with this. You could get all the different technology and tools out there. You could go to Higgsfield and create cool content. You could use Riverside's editor. You could use Whisper AI. Learn how to use the basic three LLMs, Claude, Gemini, Chat. Learn the nuances. Learn how it fits into your workflow. Learn how it talks to your multiple systems. Because now, if you have a fundamental understanding of those large language models, you'll understand how to deploy this, and you'll understand how to look at things like OpenClaw or Moltbot and realize that, I wonder if that is just a lot of hype because I don't know if that's really possible. You'll have a better lens to look at this through. So that's what we do. Everything that I just synthesized for you, that's what we do on an enterprise and an individual level.
I love it. I love it because you made a good point there in the beginning. Sit with an owner, okay, because there's a reality in business.
Yep.
Okay, the biggest roadblock in most every business is the owner.
It's your mind, it's the person.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's the owner. Hard to start there because they're a little resistant and saying they're messed up, but that is a great demo. Here, what was one of your biggest issues? And show them just like you described, right? Get in this, let's watch it solve it. Like, what a cool tool. I mean, I'm telling you, what I've done, like I never could have done. I mean,
Same.
I'm solving all my problems. What about this? What about this? And I'm a real kind of deep overthinker. Like I go into detail. Like I will drive you insane, if I let myself, right? I can't do that with like a chat. It likes that. Okay. Like we have a race. Okay. We have a race to infinity. Like, like let's get to this next thing, and you have to learn to stop, right? Like anything else. But what it can uncover and reveal for you, are things that you'd never think of. It comes at it from a complete, because we all have these biases. We're humans. So we have a bias and we can't seem to break outside of that because it's really a determinator for our thought process, that bias. It's hard to remove that from you. But when you have a tool like these LLMs that can do that, it expands your mind. It expands your ability to think about your business. It takes off those low ceilings that you've put on yourself that you don't even realize. Right. That's what I love about it. What it can do for I always tell people it levels the playing field in business. I'm talking from a 1 to 5 man team compared to a 500-man team. It levels it.
Yeah.
You can use things like, it's unbelievable what you can do with this and compete in the market and not have to have 500 people.
Well, I mean, dude, expand on that for a second. Like, you used to have to go to a McKinsey, a Bain, a BCG. I have prompts that I will use with enterprise level clients. And we're not talking small clients here. We're talking some of the world's biggest private equity firms that allow me to function the same way Bain, McKinsey, any of them would, because I have their thinking inside of a large language model. Now it's up to me at the very core to have a human to human conversation. That is the one thing I fully believe will not be able to be replicated in the short term, and that is human empathy. That is seeing you smile. That is feeling your presence and my presence, knowing you're nodding your head. Oh my gosh, you agree. Your micro emotions, the things that make us human. Like,
Yeah.
hey man, how was your day? How are the kids?
And and the verbal aspect of communication is only 7% of communication.
Right.
Think about that. Like, how limited do you want to be? Do you only want 7% of your capacity in your business to be able to use? Right?
Say
Like,
that again
so
for the people in the back, because that's really good.
7% verbal, right? That's all verbal is. So if they're listening to this right now, not watching the video, okay, it's far better in video, but you can listen to this, and we're communicating only at a 7% level. Okay, we start adding you sitting there thinking, looking like you are with the hand on the chin, the whole thing. Me, with the hand movement, everything else, and the expression on the face, the excitement as they lean in when you're telling me something I haven't heard before, and I can't wait to respond.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, there's a whole different energy when you're in the room. You can never replace the energy of the room.
No, you cannot.
COVID, all that was all just, it was horrible. Okay, all that stuff. I got kicked out of a lot of stores. Okay, because I wanted to go in without stuff. So, but it really was, when you start looking like you've lost, like that's what I was talking about, the pendulum. You got to come back that you can't negate the human aspect of this. Okay, you have to use the tools to make that even better. Because if Chat or Claude can teach me better things to say in that communication. I still have to communicate, but now I have better tools to convey what I want to say.
150% to convey what's on your heart, your mind. Have you looked up Pickle OS yet?
No.
It's bonkers.
Dude, you remember, brother, you're light years ahead of me. I've done some cool stuff. You are light
Bro,
years ahead of me. So I
so
am digging this.
for you and your listeners, look up Pickle OS. Like I like to eat a pickle, Pickle OS. They're building a large language model that functions more like a brain than a large language model. What do I mean?
Wow.
It connects to your texts, your emails, your Slack, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, everything so that it functions as your second brain. And then you wear a pair of glasses that have little cameras
Yeah.
in them. And so you and I could be talking and it's looking at you. Then it pulls you up onto my display on my lens, tells me more about you. It sits there and looks at me looking down at a plate of cookies that my wife made for me. And it might say in my ear, you really don't need another one of those because I notice your heart rate's a little up.
She said only two.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And then when you have three, it sends a text message to your wife
That's right.
saying, "Hey, I just want you to know, Drew had three cookies. He still loves you, but you might just
18
want to."
burpees. He needs to
Yeah,
do 18 burpees.
yeah. He needs to go run
Burning
around the
calories.
house. Give him this set of chores.
Right.
Just think about that. That
So
is where we're going.
I love this because here's the thing I was thinking of, I don't know, a couple of months ago. I'm like, a teleprompter is right. Talking about
Yep.
these glasses. I'm like, why can't I have that as my teleprompter? Why can't this move at my speed? When I'm given a half hour, 45-minute presentation,
Yes.
I'm not looking at the monitor. I'm not looking up there. I'm not looking at notes. I'm like seeing this, whether it's bullet points or whatever, and it's kind of scrolling. And maybe I have
Dude.
a thing, man, I don't know, but I'm thinking like, how cool would that be?
Well,
It's on
you can
point
do
all the
that.
time.
You can
What's
do
that?
that, right? Like you could get the new Meta glasses. I have a pair that have an heads-up display on the glasses and a
Right.
teleprompter. You could go to there are multiple sites that do it right now, but at the core, like I speak a lot. Last year I did 63 keynotes across the US, Mexico, and Canada. I've thought a lot about including those and just using that so that I can get a higher velocity out. But here's what I'm learning in what my there's an art to being able to work a
Yep.
room. There's an art to being able to
Yep.
see someone in the front row and realize that they're experiencing this on a much different level than anyone else. And now it's a talk for them.
Right.
And there's a much different art to just reading because you're on a teleprompter right now, words on a screen. I don't know. I feel like if I were to have something written and scrolling across my lens while I'm working in a room of a couple thousand people, number one, my fear is what if it fails? Right? What if it
Right.
fails? And now I'm like, ah, I mean, I have a lot of training around this. I can pick that up. But at the second part, it takes away my joie de vivre, if you want to say, my ability to just be in the moment and to have my wit, my senses pick up on something and run with it. Because that's why people, that's what we want. We want that live entertainment. We want to be entertained. You don't want to be educated. You want to be entertained. You want to laugh. You
Right.
might say, no, 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 Drew. Insurance professionals, people doing SOX audit, they don't want to laugh. Yes, they do. Have you ever talked to a SOX auditor? They're the most boring people in the world. They want to laugh because
Right.
laughing has this effect on the brain that allows you to remember things better, right? If I told you right now, ready? Finish this. The best part of waking up.
Folgers in your cup.
When's the last time you drank that shitty coffee? Never.
Never. Yes.
But
That's right.
it's
Never.
stuck.
Wait, no, they do make like the kind in the tea bag.
Yeah.
Or like when I'm camping, you put that in. It's like a tea bag, but it's coffee. That is fantastic.
But you
Folgers
know
on
what
the
I'm
move.
saying.
So Folgers on the move. It's okay when you got to be out in the woods.
Geico, the gecko. It's so easy, caveman can do
Yeah.
it. People want that human to human laughter right there. And it has to be delivered by a human
Yeah.
for it
I'm
to
I'm
work.
I'm with you, Drew, 100%. Because I'm that way. What I use whenever I have a slide presentation, I speak a lot too. Slide presentation, I used to do it in picture slides because my other business was all visual, right? Water features, all this stuff. All I did was want the picture to come up and then I knew what to say. I didn't need any
That's it.
words.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, and I'll talk about this and I'll talk about
Right,
that.
right, right.
Now it's a bullet point. That's all I need.
Yeah.
I don't need like, I just want the bullet point. Okay. And I'll move because I can tend to go a little rabbit hole-ish. but I do fly pretty free on the stage.
Wait,
You know,
so okay, there's a name for this, and I know we're getting off topic here and we've been jamming,
I
bro, but
like off topic.
there's a
It's
name
fun.
for this, and I mean, look, I'm not getting political, okay? But love him or hate him, he has done something called the weave. And he'll talk about this. If anyone's listening, go Google the weave. And what he does is he takes a story and then he'll take two or three words on the prompter. Oh, it was huge. It was huge. It was the biggest, the biggest, the biggest of big. Like you wouldn't believe how big this was. Let me tell you, it was so big that the golf course couldn't even handle it. And he'd weave in a story. And it's just like having ADD from point to point to point to point. But you listen and you're like, huh, that's actually relatable. Huh,
Yeah,
that's human.
that's
He
right.
messed up. That's human.
Yeah, I'm good at that. I was doing what's called Toastmasters, right? So they had
Yeah,
this
I love
thing, and I go to a
Toastmasters.
few
Yeah.
of those, and they're like, "Well, get up and tell a story,"
Yep.
So people are getting up and they're all nervous, and I'm like rolling. I just get up and I'm rolling about the story, everything else. So I got the whole thing, and people are just dying. I go, "It's story. It's what it's about." You got to connect that. I do the same thing. I have to weave in reality. I'm not a dry lecturer kind of guy. You know what I mean? As you can see, right? Like
Dude, if
we
you
didn't
tried to
prep for
make one of
this,
us dry, could you imagine?
right?
Like
Like
that would be hilarious.
right, and I always tell people there's no prep on this show. You don't prep, I don't prep, I don't send you questions, you don't send me questions. We just get on and do this. All I know is I chose you, so you're going to be good, okay? Because I haven't talked to you in 3 months, and you get on and we just roll, okay? And this is what it's about. It's this
100%.
kind of dialogue and going through this and hitting different topics and everything else. I may know what you do, I may not. It doesn't matter. I have a level of curiosity. I have a way to respond, and I think it's awesome. And I think that's a big part of why, like, I can have hour-long podcasts and people listen to the end, because we don't know what's going to happen, either do they. So everyone stays for the ride.
Yeah, it's like what's the guy's name? He's got the number one podcast, Joe Rogan.
Yes, that guy.
Right. It's just
Yeah,
having a conversation, man.
and go 3 hours. Sean Ryan, 3 hours,
Yeah.
6 hours. He's got really interesting people. That's important too. Okay.
100%.
I had I had one guy, and I won't say his name, but this poor guy, who was a younger guy, came on the show, marketing. He's a marketing guy and stuff, but I literally was giving him his answers. I'm like trying to pull it out of him. I'm like, we got done. I said, brother, I'm just gonna be honest with you, man. You're not ready to be a guest. You
Oof.
probably know what you're doing, but on the spot, when I'm just throwing out questions, I go, you didn't, you don't have it yet. You don't have that to roll off, because so you got to just, this is not your medium right now.
And
Go,
what did he
go be
say?
great, go get better, but you don't know your topic well enough
Yeah, yeah.
to, and I'm no super host. I'm just a guy asking questions,
That's
and
hard,
then,
man.
yeah,
That
so
I
it was
mean, it's an
awkward.
art. It becomes an art to a certain point. Knowing how to take a question, put the question into your answer so that it's optimized for a soundbite, right? For
Right.
an edit, but then to actually not be afraid to go, wait, what were we talking about?
Right.
Oh, okay, cool. Let me go back to that real quick.
Yeah, yeah. It's obviously it's a gain skill, but
Yes.
to turn it back around into the LLMs and what you can do. What I've done is I've been able to educate myself at such a higher and faster level of things I know about. Okay, that I'm pretty good, but I got a whole new level of depth in a very short time period. I mean, I'm not taking some class at a community college or at Harvard for that matter. Okay. Because I can get it right here and now, and I can apply it, I can learn it. And there's a lot of repetition that I've learned over time working this. I'm seeing it. That's why I like learn to code. I don't know how to code, but I recognize all the things in code. And I started telling chat, like, you can't do that, and it literally
Right.
would apologize to me. Oh
Right.
yeah, yeah, that's on me. I'm like, you're supposed to be the smart one. Okay, like you're doing this stuff, like you can't say this twice. If you put this
Right.
in a
Right.
second time, it's gonna break this for another 50 hours. So, just saying, like, it's the part about being awake, but using the tool for the right application. I think that's what's the most powerful thing. But the beauty is, as you've already described and shown, there's a lot of applications.
There's an infinite number of
Yeah, it's not a
applications.
one-trick pony,
No,
you know?
not at all.
Yeah, awesome stuff, man. I'm thinking, give us kind of, I mean, you've already expressed kind of a lot of uses, and any AI expert I've had on my show, okay, and I don't blame them, can never give more than a 6 month, forecast.
Of what's
They
going to
actually don't want to
happen.
get past 30 days. They actually don't want to get past 30 days, but I'm kind of like, what are you seeing kind of almost kind of nuts and bolts, like right around the corner? Like what's coming and what are the usage and that kind of stuff are you seeing?
Right around the corner. I mean, listen, when someone
That's
tells
a
me they're
relative term.
yeah, when someone tells me they're an AI expert, like I won't ever say I'm an AI expert. I'm an AI advisor.
Well,
But this
these guys
technology
like
is,
created like voice AI and
which is
these,
like, okay, that's
these
different.
guys like built, they
Yeah, you're
built stuff.
like,
Okay.
you literally are someone who's created
They're
one of the,
MIT guys from,
yeah, yeah, yeah. They
2012.
understand
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
at a much deeper level.
Yes.
I can't sit in a room and tell you all about machine learning. That's not, I understand it. I understand it enough to be dangerous, but I'm not sitting here coding a large language model.
Right.
I'm a humanist, right? And now on the humanist side, if I were to say the next thing that happens is you're going to see white collar jobs start being removed. You're going to see the big players in certain industries and spaces, the Marsh McLennans, the larger companies, make a move that raises eyebrows. Instead of hiring new CXO, we have this large language model that functions as our new chief financial officer. And once they do it, and let's just say their stock price goes up, or let's say they show additional margin, well, the other companies have to do it too if they want to be
Right.
competitive. And now, once we do that, we've opened up some type of a Pandora's box in another way, which means these efficiency gains will continue to happen again and again. If, dude, I did a speech on this in Chicago, of all places, right? We were talking about
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah.
I said, someone asked me, what would you tell your kids? What would you tell them to do? And I said, this is what I would say. Number one, you're going to go to Ohio State, the world's best undergrad university to play football. You're going to be QB1. Okay. That's a non negotiable. Number two, you're going to get dual degrees. One of them is going to be in business, the other one in journalism, because once you're done playing for the Philadelphia Eagles, you're going to have a second career as a journalism major, being on like ESPN,
Yeah.
doing something in broadcast. Number three, you're going to learn a trade. You're going to learn plumbing, electrical, whatever it is. You're going to learn that trade. So once you finish your career, we're only going to let you play in the league, Hunter, my son, for like 4 years, get a contract for a couple $1 million. We'll reinvest that. But now in your next career, you're going to create a trade company. And that trade company is you understanding how to do plumbing. And we're going to have your business degree in AI automate the entire back end and build the business. Then you are going to build a fund that is just going to acquire all of these other service based businesses optimized with AI. Shit, I should just do this right now. The
Right.
point is, learn a trade, AI optimizes the back end, build a fund or a container that you can have all the other ones come in so you can have a team of six function like a team of 700. But you have the physical trade of plumbing, the physical trade of HVAC that a robot can't yet do.
Right. Yeah, I love it. I do have I deal primarily in the trades, construction industry, and I tell them, saying, exactly what you said. It's got to take care of this little stuff.
100%.
What I'm doing is like because of that human deficit in the trades, it's
Yes.
still there, right? Hard. I tell people go by any construction site, find me someone under 40. Just look for someone under 40. It's hard to find.
Yeah, you wouldn't find it.
Right, right. So my son he's just turning 19. He's a heavy equipment demolition operator. Been operating equipment since he was 9. Okay, he can work torches. He can work actually anything. Right, he's out there killing it. Right, but I tell them like you have to prepare to take ground with your whether it's subcontractors, your in-house guys, whatever that is, but the business aspect. Just like you said, the business aspect with everything else, that's what's going to prepare you to take ground. If you don't have that covered, If you don't have that portion
100%.
automated, you
Yes.
cannot scale. The human capital part you can build. Because
Yes.
now, if
You.
AI is handling the human the automation part, all that other stuff, like you said, it's a CFO. You've got all this stuff in place. You can focus on the human capital. This is what I was talking about earlier. You can focus on getting the best of the best. Working guys who can sweat pipe, who can frame, who can do all this stuff, right? Get that, because that other stuff is enabling you to move forward. Now you're going to take ground at a rapid rate, and then to your point, build that fund. Build
Yeah.
that in there. Be that thing. Be the conductor of the orchestra.
100.
You don't have
And
to play an
you don't
instrument.
need 100. You don't need 100 people to be the conductor of an orchestra.
That's right.
You could have
That's
four
right.
or five really good players,
I'm
right?
telling
And
you,
then the rest of the
a
orchestra is
quartet.
being played.
I
Yeah,
got
man.
best quartet. I got the Emerson quartet ready to go.
100%.
Right. So that's the whole point. That's why I love what you said. Kind of this is the future. So you want to know what's coming? That's what's coming. The ability to do exactly what you said, exactly what I said. That's how you can look at this right now and be all freaked out about losing jobs and everything else. If you're in a white collar situation, like, get wise. Start looking at your options.
You have
Pivot now while you've got the money, you still got the income and everything else. But under see the writing on the wall, it doesn't mean you're going to be, because if you don't do anything, you will be destitute,
Yeah.
because it'll be too late to pivot. Like, you can look at this now and go, okay, what's next? You have to be able to get uncomfortable. You got to embrace, discomfort, move into the next thing. It can be a side gig now, but with AI, with these LLMs, this can turn that very, very quickly into something very, very viable. Just dedicate the time to it and you can make it happen. Would you agree?
Yeah, I always say, listen, right now, the canary is still alive. Right now, the
That's
canary
it.
is still alive. It won't last for long. That context window is slipping by faster than you will imagine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when the canary's dead, guess what?
It's dead.
You're almost dead in the water,
Yeah.
because now you're going to compete with all of these Fortune 500 executives that go, uh-oh, I'm laid off. Maybe I'll be an AI expert. So now the market's flooded with misinformation, and you're the
Yep.
one who has to figure out how to get through it all.
That's right.
And you go to
That's right.
work at Starbucks as a barista, which that's a good thing. Listen, I'm not complaining, but you wonder, man, if I could have just gotten ahead of this. Here's your chance.
I'm telling you, it's like, you got to see it, you got to do it. And man, engage guys like Drew Thompson, how do they get in touch with you? How do they follow you? The drill.
I know the drill, man. Hey, if you want to follow me on all the platforms, it's just the Drew Thompson. Easy to get a hold of me, super easy to find me. If you would like to join, I'm sorry, I've got a little puppy underneath my desk here and she's ripping things up.
There's another reason why you can't just have verbal. You got to see the dog.
100%. Hey, Coco, come here.
We had Coco. This is the second appearance already in the show. Look at that.
Look at this little
Little
girl. Huh?
pit.
All right, baby, get down, honey.
Look at that.
You find me on Instagram, any of the platforms, the Drew Thompson. If you go to Human Powered, HUMANPOWRD, Human Powered without the E at the end, you'll see my Substack. I write there multiple times a week about the intersection of technology and the future and what it means to be human in an AI age. I always get back to all of my messages. I've got a school community called Human Powered if you're interested. But just send me a message if you want to talk about AI. If you want to talk about how to be human, I will message you back personally and help you figure it out.
That is awesome, man. I love this whole concept. I'm glad we got on, Drew. We could talk about this. I mean, we kind of hustled to make this happen back and forth, but it's been totally worth it. It's been an incredible conversation, man. I love it. I love bringing real practical insight to these tools that are right in front of us, and they're now unavoidable. You know what I mean? We got to embrace it and use it. So this has been absolutely fantastic. I appreciate your time. I know you're super busy, man, carving this out and getting this in there. I just appreciate you for that alone, if nothing else.
Hey, man, thank you for having me, Richard. This was a lot of fun. We talked about a lot of stuff, but hopefully we'll get another chance to do something like this, and we'll be like, hey, remember how dumb those AI tools were?
There's an easy part 2 in this one.
Love it.
We'll just see if it doesn't take us 4 months to make it happen.
I'm down, man. Let's make it happen.
All right. This has been fantastic. And for everybody else, we'll see you on the next STS podcast. Thanks for joining me on the Sharpen the Spear podcast. If you're a manufacturing executive and you're serious about unlocking hidden profit, improving frontline leadership, and taking control of your floor? Go to grit2lead.com right now. Run the free Sharpened Impact Simulator and discover your biggest opportunities are hiding. Don't leave millions on the table. Sharpen your spear, lead from the front, and win the floor. Until next time, stay sharp.